This presentation, as I'm sure you knew when you clicked on it, is called How to Succeed in Writing 1. Think of this as a personal note from me, your instructor professor here, to you, a student who's just starting out. This is full of advice that I think will really help you. One strategy for success in college classes, and particularly this Writing 1 class, is to ask lots of questions. And if you can see this picture in this presentation, I'm sure many of these students have questions of this particular instructor. I tell my students in class, if you have a question, probably several other students have the same question, so go ahead and ask it. In our online class, and in some on-campus classes too, we'll start a discussion forum that's specifically for student questions. In our class, that's called the Muddiest Point Forum, and you can find that in the module called How To Information and Basic Course Info. You can also just ask me questions directly via email or via the messaging system in our course software. You can also come talk to me in my office if you're anywhere near campus, or schedule a phone call or video chat. You want to make sure that you don't skip the small stuff. And I try to make it very clear that most of your grade in this class will come from the major papers, and you need to make sure you revise them. But don't skip the quizzes, discussion forums, smaller exercises, things like that. Those are specifically designed and put in place to help you practice the concepts that you need for writing, and to help you get that information and make sure you're retaining that information. So don't skip those. Those do contribute to your grade as well. Your success in Writing 1 often comes down to making sure that you're getting the help that you need. And that means contacting me, your instructor, for help. Again, please don't hesitate. You can also work with a writing lab, and they do have the ability to work with you online using track changes in Microsoft Word. You can also ask other students for help. Sometimes just finding a study buddy or somebody who you connect with online and you exchange ideas. Again, you're not doing each other's work, but just sharing those ideas and kind of talking with them on the side can be a big help. Especially when it comes to major papers, though, take advantage of asking me questions, asking me to look at multiple drafts if that's needed, and working with a writing lab. Make sure you're wise when it comes to technology. That means backing up your work. I know it's frustrating to work really hard on something and then lose it because you lost a flash drive or your computer crashed. That has happened to me, and I've heard many stories of things that have happened to other students. So back up your work as you're working on it. And back it up in multiple locations. So if you lose it in one location, you can find it somewhere else. Make sure you have contingency plans for accessing the internet, because maybe something goes out at your residence, or if you're living in the residence halls, you may have some issues there. Hopefully not, but make sure that you know where you're going to go to get your work done if you somehow have internet problems where you are. Bottom line, with everything technology, we got to find a way to figure it out. And if you do have questions about Brightspace or other technology, again, talk to me. Use their end user support. We'll have some links posted. But for any of these things, again, you got to make sure your work gets done. You'll want to use the discussion forums to your advantage. Posting early helps, because then you have a better chance of other people seeing and replying with something helpful if that's what they're supposed to do. Check back with the discussion forums often to see where you can maybe reply to somebody else and further discussion. I encourage you to use the discussion forums to learn and to share. Don't just view them as busy work. I've included them to help you put your ideas out there, to share your ideas with other students and get feedback. And you'll be able to get good feedback from other students pretty well in the discussion forums if you give it a chance. To succeed in Writing 1, you really want to spend time with it. In higher education, we've often said that the expectation is for every 1 credit hour, you need to spend 2 or 3 credit hours studying per week. So for a 3 credit hour class like Writing 1, the expectation would be 6 to 8 or 9 hours. That is just an estimate, though. We are working on some major papers, and some weeks you're going to need to plan more time. So get a good sense of the calendar, look at the course schedule, look at the course website at the weeks that are coming up, and try to get a sense of what you need to be doing. And just know that you're going to need to put the time in to not just work with the lesson materials and the little activities for every week, but also working on those major papers. So find a pattern of work, log in several times a week at least, and make sure that you're getting the work done. But just know right up front, that you're going to need to spend a fair amount of time with this course, and that's going to be true of pretty much any Writing 1 course you take anywhere. As you put your time in with Writing 1, you do need to understand this is a semester-long course. We are working on skills, and skills development does take time. Most of you probably can point to certain skills that you have, whether it's athletics or music or video games, and you didn't just quickly develop those skills overnight. It took you a while to get to where you are. Again, no matter what you're into, skills development takes time, and Writing 1 and college writing in general, that's the case. You want to work hard consistently. You may run into a project or assignment that you feel is pretty easy for you, and in some cases that will be true, but you want to consistently put in your hard work, because at some point you're going to hit something in this class that's a bit tougher for you, and it's really tough for us to re-engage and work at a harder level if we've allowed ourselves to coast for a while. I've seen it many times. So keep working, keep pressing hard, even if you feel like you don't need to. Don't get discouraged along the way. We're all going to struggle sometimes, and many students do struggle with writing, and a lot of students let me know that up front, that they struggle with writing, and that's okay. I don't judge people for their abilities, but I do ask that you keep working hard, and I am happy to help working with you with revisions. I'm happy to look at multiple drafts, not just the one rough draft, if that's what it needs. So if you have things that are really getting you down about the class, talk to me about it. We'll try to work on strategies for helping you improve. You want to make sure that you trust the process, and by that I mean the writing and revision process. Again, I've taught writing for quite a while now. I've put some things into place to help you practice, to help you develop before the final product, to help you get feedback before the final product. And down the road, the best way to succeed is to make sure that you're engaging yourself in the process, taking it seriously, paying attention to my feedback that I'll give you, and moving forward with that. And a big part of that process for succeeding in Writing 1, as I've said, is taking revision seriously. For most of the papers here, you'll provide a rough draft, you'll get revision, and you can use that feedback for the final draft. And as I've said before, you can submit multiple drafts to me if that's what you need, and we can meet online, on campus, wherever, and go over those drafts together if that's what will help. One final tip for helping you succeed in this class is to relate this class and the work in this class to your major and interest. There's research that shows that when student learners can see a purpose to what they're doing and can relate what they're doing to their long-term goals and to their interests, they will generally engage a bit more with it and do better. Common sense, right? So with the major projects we have especially, find a way to relate that to your major, or at least a field of interest for you. And if you want to brainstorm that and talk about how to do that, I'm happy to do that. Sometimes students want to do that, they're just not sure how, or they think their idea is too crazy, won't work, and oftentimes we can find a way to make it work. Not always, but sometimes. So think about the projects you do. Don't just grab some random topic for the heck of it. Try to make it something that will be more meaningful for you. And good luck with this class, everyone.